Hey, welcome guys. So today we are going to do a top 10 countdown. Now, this is a list that I have curated from ChatGPT. I use ChatGPT pretty often in work, and of course, sometimes during the day our minds wander and we start thinking about scale models. So, anyways, ChatGPT, Copilot, all these AI tools are sometimes scary accurate. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to see how accurate I thought it was. And then as soon as I did that, I said, let's see how accurate YouTube thinks it is. So what I want to do with this video, I will do the countdown, of course. I will list why ChatGPT chose it, popular quotes about this kit, and then I will give you my reaction. At the end, I will basically list out, after we've counted down the top 10, anything that I would put into this list, and everything that we put into this list will have to take something out. So what I would ask is, obviously, please feel free to comment whatever you would like, but what I wanted to do with this video was let me know what you think. If there are things that you would add to the list, mention what you would pull out of the list. So I've made this off of 5 different pieces of criteria. I tried to get pretty detailed, so it's not just, hey, give me a top 10. This is 1/35th scale only. It is Tamiya's kind of go-to in terms of armor, so I thought that would just make it a little bit simpler. So thing number 1, criteria piece number 1, is build experience. Now this is fit, is it frustrating, anything like that. That's thing number 1, is just overall build experience. Thing number 2 is popularity in the community. And what I did ask Chat to do was not just look at, what Tamiya has written on the internet, but what are people saying in YouTube comments? What are they saying on forums and blogs? And that's where the quote comes from, is what is the most common things that people are saying about this kit? And if it's positive, obviously weight that. Thing number 3 is historical impact. So how old the kit is does matter, but even more than that, did it come out and did it have a kind of groundbreaking design, a new, engineering technique, something like that. Thing number 4 is kind of options, we'll call it. What I mean by options is there an upgrade kit available for it? Like a Zimmerit kit, an upgraded gun barrel? Does it come with figures that you could build a diorama? Have they done new marking options, and kept releasing them every couple of years? So that, can you make a diorama with it? That sort of thing. Can you do more than just build it and put it on the shelf? So that's thing number 4. And the last thing, number 5, is availability. I'm basing this off of kits that are available today, in 2025. Can I go buy it? And I don't mean on eBay, can I go buy the original Jackson for $200? I mean, can I go to a store, online, a local hobby shop, and they will probably have it? Is it on the Tamiya website? That sort of thing. So without further ado, let's jump in and let's see what the top 10 is. All right, so coming in at number 10, and I will stop saying Tamiya's because obviously this is a Tamiya list only, but to kick it off, we have Tamiya's Matilda Mk2 infantry tank. Now, ChatGPT says British World War II armor often gets overlooked, but the Matilda II stands out for its armor textures and squat, purposeful design. Tamiya's version is charming and nicely detailed for its size. It has beautiful cast texture, unusual shape, and it's good for weathering. The quote they give is quirky and fun, something different in the display case. So, my reaction, I agree with this. We'll get into what I would swap for this kit in the end. I wouldn't argue with someone putting this on the list. I just have a personal pick that I would put, I guess, in its place. And I do tend to have a bias towards British armor. I do really like it. It is quirky. It is different. It looks good in the display case. So I do really, really agree with that. But more on this one at the end. Let's look at what number 9 is. All right. Number 9 is the M1A1 Abrams with the mine plow. So why this at number 9? This represents Tamiya's solid entry into modern armor. The Abrams is still in use today, and this captures its raw power, complete with a working mine plow and Desert War decals. Surprisingly smooth build for a modern subject, lots of presence, quote, "If you want to paint modern camo or try a Gulf War scheme, this is your kit." So there is a caveat to this one, in my opinion of it. It's not that I don't like modern armor, I just don't do it. I am definitely kind of into the romanticized, kind of the original modeling era, which is really World War II, kind of Cold War start. Really World War II heavy. So I haven't built this kit. I haven't built really any. I built like 1 or 2 modern kits. One was an aircraft. So I don't necessarily, I don't know. I feel like I get why it's on the list. It was their first entry into modern armor, and being Tamiya, I'm sure it was the best at the time. But I'm more of a Leopard fan. They did have that commercial with the beer stein balance on the barrel of the tank, which I don't know what's more impressive than that. So let me know what you think about this one. I do need a little bit of help on modern armor. So let's see what number 8 is. All right, number 8 is Tamiya's Panther G. Now, I get this, but why? Panthers were arguably Germany's best tank. Tamiya's kit features crisp, understated detail and a strong parts fit, making it a pleasure for both brush and airbrush work. It has clean weld lines, historically accurate, and flexible build options. The quote, and this is why I agree with it, is the Panther kit got me hooked on armor modeling. I have not built this kit. I have seen countless builds on it on forums and other things, and I have heard, whether, it might not be that exact quote before, I've heard many, many people say that this was kind of the kit that got them going. It might not be their first kit. A lot of our first kits were Revel and Airfix kits with flash and dried paints, but this is that kind of kit that really turns you on to it. So I get it. I can't argue with this one. I think this is perfect. I could even see this, I guess, being higher on the list. So let's look at number 7. All right, number 7, Tamiya's Churchill Mark 7, a British heavyweight with serious battlefield cred. The kit has detailed surface casting, textures, and a large boxy profile that looks great painted. Tamiya balances complexity with a build that doesn't overwhelm. Unique look, side skirt options, interesting engineering. Quote, best representation of a British tank in plastic form. So, my reaction. I've built this. I don't know where the really good cast texture is. This is a 90s kit, 96, I believe, and it shows its age. It also, I don't know if I could say it's the best representation of a British tank, but I do like this kit, and I see why this kit is on there. Based on my criteria, they have upgraded marking options, figure options. It comes with pretty relevant figures today. It's like a farmer and some like milk jugs and buckets and things like that. So there's diorama options here. There's real options, and it being in the mid to low 30s in terms of US dollars, it is a really good Churchill. I'm sure that there are others out there that are very, very good. This kit has a tiny bit of flash and I wouldn't say fit issues, but it doesn't always feel like a perfect Tamiya kit. But it does feel like a classic Tamiya kit. Tamiya classically has always had rubber band tracks, and these might be the best rubber band tracks that Tamiya has ever had. So kind of a funky reason to give it the pass on this one, but I do think this belongs on the list. 7 might just be a little bit high. So anyways, let's look at number 6. All right, coming in at number 6 is their Jagdpanzer 470V Lang. Long name. This tank destroyer combines sleek design with brutal function, and the Tamiya kit nails it. Excellent for showing off weathering, camo, and battle damage. Subtle Zimmerit texture, Lincoln length tracks, modern tooling. The quote, a hidden gem, less famous but super satisfying to build. I think that quote's pretty accurate. I have actually not built this kit. I've built many Tamiya Panzers, and I know that they share a lot of similar parts, especially like the 70A that I did, I don't know, a couple months ago on the channel. The barrels are interchangeable. Some of the tracks, wheels, things like that are exactly the same. So anyways, I agree with this kit. It is one of the most interesting German tanks, in my opinion, but I do think it is a very, very cool subject. All of Tamiya's Panzer IVs they feel flawless. I haven't built a bad one yet. They all feel very, very just like classic Tamiya, but like classic new Tamiya. They also have upgrade sets for this. And I don't know, I know some of it's because of the new 70A, but I know some of these historically have been there. Tamiya has the metal gun barrel upgrade set, and there are a lot of resin parts available for this kit. So there's a ton of options and things that you can do, and it's not a kit that not a subject that everybody does. So I think this one is pretty much perfect where it sits. All right, let's go to number 5. All right, coming in at number 5, the king of all tanks, the King Tiger, specifically with the Porsche turret. So, why? Massive presence, historical rarity, and complex but rewarding detail. This version features the early production turret designed by Porsche, and is great for intermediate modelers looking for a project with presence. It's a robust kit with great surface detail and realistic tracks. Quote, king of tanks, literally, this kit dominates the shelf. So, my reaction is going to go with the next kit on this list. I think at one point it deserved, this and the next one deserved to be there, but let's quickly go to the next one because my reaction goes with that one as well. So, number 4. All right, number 4, Tamiya's Tiger 1 mid-production. Why? The Tiger 1 is one of the most legendary tanks of World War II, and Tamiya's take is consistently considered one of the best. This mid-production version captures its intimidating look with sharp molding and well-fitting parts. Comes with photo etch engine grills and is great historical accuracy. Quote, no top 10 list is complete without the Tiger. So, my reaction, and this again goes for the King Tiger. I think this at one point deserved to be on the list. I know it's a Tamiya list, so this is maybe controversial or something, for lack of better terms. I don't think either belong on this list anymore. And it's not for anything that Tamiya did. It's because of all of the other Tiger kits out there. I was listening to Champion Scale, who I follow very, very closely on YouTube, and he said it himself. He has Tamiya kits sitting on his shelf, and he doesn't know if he's ever going to build them. Don't quote me on exactly what he said, but because there's all these new Tiger kits available, whether it be the Tacom kits in the $30, Tamiya's is like $50. Dragon, I've seen make some amazing Tigers. Tamiya seems to be losing its grip a little bit, at least on the lead for German armor. Both of these kits, the Tiger and King Tiger, do come with kind of a Zimmerit you can put on. It is an option. So I get it. At the time, it was probably the only kind of in-store option outside of doing it yourself. I just think the Tiger and King Tiger have been bumped because of what else is available in the market. Anyways, let me know what you think about that one. I know it feels a little bit weird bumping a Tamiya kit off a Tamiya list for something that somebody else did. I just don't think it really belongs here anymore. So let's move on to number 3. All right, number 3, Tamiya's M41 Walker Bulldog. Why? A Cold War American light tank that's consistently praised for its clean lines and low frustration build. It may not be as detailed as newer kits, but its charm lies in its simplicity and personality. It's a fast build with an iconic silhouette, perfect for modding or dioramas. Quote, build this in a weekend and love every second of it. So my reaction, I get this one. I'm going to swap it out later for something else. What I will say about this kit is this has to be, and maybe it's a geographical reason that I've just seen it a billion times. This has to be Tamiya's most readily available kit. I've seen this in, like, my local Michaels has like 5 kits. This is always there. Hobby Lobby has this. Your local hobby, model shop, whatever, has it. The biggest model shops online have it. This kit is everywhere. Not that other kits also aren't everywhere. I've like never been in a model scenario and not seen this kit. So I do think it is deserving of a spot on this list. Like, I wouldn't argue with it, but I think there is a better option that we'll get to at the end of the list. So let's look at number 2. And number 2, Tamiya's Panzer II, the F and G version. So why? An old school favorite that still holds up. Its low part count and crisp molding make it the go-to for newcomers. A great choice for practicing painting techniques due to its simple structure. It's an iconic early war vehicle. It's budget friendly and has an easy assembly. Quote, still one of the best starter kits out there. My reaction is this is spot on. And I think it's spot on at the number 2 spot. If you watch the channel, you know I've built some of these before, at least one on the channel, and shown maybe another. But this kit is amazing. It's from the 70s. It's really, really old. It is simple, but it's not as simple as the Walker Bulldog. The Walker Bulldog is incredibly simple. I think it's got to be the most simplistic kit. This kit has a little bit more detail to it. I think it's a little bit crisper. It's also World War II, so I got to give it a little bit. I know it's early war, but I got to give it a little bit of a bump over the Bulldog, just because it is more iconic in that it's from a more romanticized era of history. It is also $15 or under. It comes with figures, although they're not, I wouldn't use them for anything. I'm not good enough to make those figures useful. But I totally agree with them with this one. I think it's spot on. So finally, let's see what number 1 is. All right, number 1, Tamiya's M4A3E8 Sherman, aka the Easy 8. Now why? This is Tamiya at its modern best. The Easy 8 offers excellent fit, simple instructions, and a fantastic surface detail. It's based on a later war U.S. tank known for its improved suspension and armor, making it both historically significant and incredibly satisfying to build. It's got a slide molded turret, link and length tracks, and clear instructions. Community says if I had to recommend a first kit, this is it. All right, immediate reaction. I get it. I get why it's number 1. I wouldn't recommend this as a first kit. It's not a cheap kit. I think it's north of $50, and it does have quite a few parts. I think a Panzer II Walker Bulldog, there's better options out there for a first kit. But this kit is perfect. It's a 10. This is one of Tamiya's 10s. So I can't disagree with it. And it's maybe the most iconic vehicle of World War II. I know that might get people stirring, but Allies won, so it's the Sherman, or I don't know, T-34 is going to be more iconic. And I'm from the US, so I see a lot of Shermans. So for me, maybe biased, but it's a Sherman, and it's the best version of the Sherman. And the Tamiya kit is flawless. So I get it. I can't argue with this one. I think it is absolutely deserving of number 1. So what are the changes I would make? All right, we'll start with the 4 kits that I would add. Number 1, I would add Tamiya's HANA-MAG half-track. If you watch the channel, I've built a couple, built one on the channel and shown at least one other. It feels crazy not to list this. The Panzer II's on the list, the Walker Bulldog's on the list. I don't know why it would have been left off the list. I feel like it slots right in the middle of those 2. So you can guess what I would get rid of in its place. I would take the Walker Bulldog out, and I would put the HANA-MAG in. The reason I would is it does have, they're okay figures. They're better than the Panzer II. They're not amazing or up to modern standards, but there are some different options you could do with this kit. It's definitely crisper detail, and I just think more detailed than the Walker Bulldog. The Walker Bulldog, when it's built, kind of looks like it's one giant piece. Still a great kit for beginners, but the HANA-MAG just stands out a little bit better. And I think there's a little bit more that you can end up doing with it. So that's thing number one. Thing number two, I would put Tamiya's brand new H39 kit into this list. I'm not saying that I would list it at the top. I would still list it in the kind of bottom third, so somewhere between 7 and 10. And not because it's not, deserving of the number one spot. It could be one day. Again, we have to think about historical kind of impact. And this H39 to me, if you combine it, what we're going to do is we're going to swap this for the Tiger. Tamiya, I said it before, is kind of losing their dominance on the main German vehicles. And people watching this are probably like, they lost it 10 years ago. But when we talk about a Panther, a Tiger, those biggest, the big two, and then I guess King Tiger, there's a lot of other options that are going to be a lot more detailed and things like that and come with Zimmerit. The H39 kind of hits on what Tamiya does best. Tamiya's really, really good German armor kits are ones that are like on this list. There's some of the tank destroyers that aren't a Jagdpanther, although that is a great kit as well. Tamiya really, really nails some of the quirkier and lesser known stuff. And they have sneakily added a lot of really, really nice French armor kits. Things that aren't really that available. So they're starting to quietly cover this early war period. And they have already done that, obviously. But there's at least 4 different French pieces of armor that I really don't see anybody else making. So I put this on this list because I think it's going to lead to outside of French armor. I hope we get more French armor because I kind of really like it. I like that early war period. But if you watch my the Panzer I review I did, they did a tank that was sitting in Madrid that had Spanish markings on it. I think that's to get a Spanish Civil War version, I hope. So I just want more early, I guess between the world wars, that era. Early war, the 30s, that kind of thing. So that's why I'd put that on there. I think it's the stepping stone that Tamiya needs to kind of say, sure, someone else can do, you guys can all do the Tiger. We're going to do this. The last 2 things I would switch out, I would put in the M10 Achilles. Now, this is definitely my bias. I love the Achilles. I like tank destroyers and I like British armor, and this is just a perfect combination of them. I get why Chat added the Abrams to this list. I'm just not a modern armor guy, and I get it. It was their first step into modern armor, but I don't know. I like the Achilles better. I think it's one of their just 10 out of 10 kits. There's nothing in my mind bad to say about it. The only thing that I kind of argued with myself is maybe the M10, because I believe it came before the Achilles from Tamiya. Maybe the M10 is more deserving. I haven't built Tamiya's M10, so I can't say that. All I can comment on is the Achilles. And it's on my shelf above me, which is only reserved for my favorite kits of all time. Last thing I would change. I absolutely love, this was my first 10 out of 10 kit that I ever built, is Tamiya's Valentine. So I get why Chat put the Matilda in this list. I like the Valentine better. And it will, again, maybe this is bias, totally is bias, but it just has this aura of perfection to it. There's nothing bad to say about it except it's like $60. So, I guess you get what you pay for in that. But those are the 4 changes I would make. My immediate reaction to this list is, I guess this is spot on for how I thought ChatGPT might react to this type of question. A little bit too literal. And again, this is my personal take on this. A reason why the Abrams got in there is because it was their first modern armor kit. But in the 70s, when they made a Walker Bulldog, that was a modern armor kit. So I don't really buy that as groundbreaking. I guess that's where maybe the human mind and AI kind of separate. some of the quotes that it gathered about, cast textures on the Churchill, things like that, I don't really agree with. The cast texture on the H39 is phenomenal. It's small because it's a small tank, but it's phenomenal. The Churchill looks like it was made in the 90s. It just lucks out because it's a Churchill and you get some really unique stuff with it. And it doesn't suffer from, rubber band tracks because it's a Churchill. And they give it side skirt options. It's got the side skirts on it. You can't build it without it. So I don't know. Chat definitely kind of, we'll call it, was like 87 to 93% accurate. And I think overall gathered a pretty good list. I would say, 6 or 7 of these are deserving to be on this list. I think the only real 3 that I would take off, Abrams and both the Tigers. Again, it is a Tamiya only list. So anyways, if you've made it this far, thank you for watching. If you haven't already, I would please ask you to like and subscribe to the channel. We will obviously be doing many model builds on this, as well as any kind of, fun countdown list, anything like this, when I think about it and if I can think about it. So again, let me know in the comments what you think about this list, what your reaction is. If you would change something, mention what you would take out. I think that's a good way to do it. And obviously feel free to say why you would put things in, why you would take things out. And feel free to critique my choices as well. But thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next video.